Well, let's get to kind of the big topic of the week, which is a sequel. More pre-conversation from Team 5 on the subject of the Battle Pass, a upcoming feature that still hasn't technically been officially announced. It's just been officially confirmed.
Yeah, so this came from the player survey, and so it was more, the survey was worded like, what if we did this thing? Would you be yay or nay? And now they're like, okay, we're seriously planning this thing. This is what it all means because you guys went a little nutso.
Yeah, and under, like, I get it. I mean, you know me, I'm usually the first to kind of push back against like the pitchforks and the torches and the upvotes. But like, I get it. I think you and I have just been at this a little too long, Joss. Like, I just can't help but look at this just as it's like almost like politics in a way. Like, this is like a game, like talking to your player base and giving them pre-knowledge of anything, and the language you use and the words you choose. It's all part of a game. And I feel like now anytime I read anything like that survey, I was going through it going, oh, well, this is going to rile people up. That language is going to ruffle some feathers. Okay. And that has kind of been the case along all of this. But to me, it's now kind of how I like to analyze these things. I like to think about like, well, what was the intended like reaction of the communication here? Because anytime someone from Blizzard makes a post or they send out a survey or anything, like they took some time to think about what they're going to say to you. Right?
Yeah.
Because it can cause issues. You don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. That's always like a quick route to the coffin for games, right? So,
which can we just talk about that for a second? Because I feel like we're taking player surveys as announcements, which I really don't think that we should be doing. I think that we should be interacting with the dev team and we should be telling them like, yes, that's a cool idea. No, that's not a cool idea, but not taking those surveys as gospel. They're literally asking us what we think. And, you know, we're never going to get any crazy off the wall ideas if they start treating these surveys as straight up announcements, right?
Well,
like they're never going to think outside the box if they're worried that the community won't accept the box. They're just going to start dismissing things out of hand instead of asking us what we think about some super crazy ideas that maybe could lead to somewhere good.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But it's also just like asking for your feedback in the first place. Like there's always going to be a broad range of feedback. There's always going to be extremely negative, extremely positive, everything in between. But the things that are usually a little more heated tend to get the most traction. Even if it is not necessarily like the majority, it's kind of like the loudest voice in the room sort of thing.
Yeah.
So like, and overall, I don't know. I don't think the discourse around the idea of the Battle Pass has been that bad. Like, of course, there's outliers. We could pull a Talius and Nevitel and go pull some comments out and do a bit about it because some of them are absurd and take it too far and they're too ridiculous and angry. But like overall, I've liked the back and forth. I think Team 5's been handling it pretty well, and I think the Hearthstone community has been handling it pretty well. I think it's kind of working as intended. Like that, like you said, the survey is like, well, what do you think? We want to get your kind of pre-thoughts on a system like this, and that's exactly what the community is doing. It's just the community is not necessarily doing it to the survey because we didn't all get the survey. I didn't get the survey.
Right. No, I didn't get the survey either.
Yeah. But clearly like Team 5 has made it seem like they don't mind. They like that we're all getting on the conversation because they keep replying to our thoughts in the public forums. And so like, I dig that one way or another, like whether there's portions of this proposed system that I disagree with, I like the conversation and I like that Team 5's being open because they haven't always been this way.
Right.
So that's kind of my thought there. When I get into like nitty gritty things about like, oh, you probably shouldn't have used that terminology there. Like that's just my analytical brain looking at this as like a game. Like there's right words to use, wrong words to use, depending on the reaction you're trying to get from the community. And in reality is there's probably no way to get a perfect reaction. There will always be somebody who's just like, no, I'm not a fan of this. And that's fair in some cases. So anyway, we're bringing this up because Iksar is back from his social media sabbatical, I guess, if you want to call it that. And I don't know about you, Jocelyn, but when I'm off social media for a while, I usually like to ease back in with some nice memes or whatever. Iksar just
Right.
like high dived head first. I'm not going to make a Speedo reference, but all into this, right into the deep end, and diving in, replying to more concerns on the Hearthstone subreddit about the concept of a battle pass in Hearthstone, and kind of clarified some things, or kind of like doubled down on things we've heard in the past about the battle pass. And so once again, it seemed like it was pretty a murky understanding within the community that rewards were being removed from quests. And so that was once again clarified by Iksar. I already had that understanding from the survey and also Ben's comments in the last AMA. But Iksar once again kind of like drilled that home that, yeah, rewards are going away from quests. Experience is what you're going to earn from quests in this proposed system. But
right. So quests will still have a reward. They just won't be rewarding gold.
Yeah. Iksar refers to it as gold and non-gold.
Yeah.
And so like he basically divvies up like the two types of rewards that currently exist in quests as we know them into gold, which is the most common thing we get, and non-gold, things like packs or cards or whatever. His conversation kind of dances around those two thoughts, because the whole thing is that you're now going to be gaining experience towards unlocking rewards through the battle pass system, which, if you go back, I think 2 episodes and you'll hear us do a deep dive into what a battle pass even is if you've never like interfaced with one before. Which, if you're like a hardcore Hearthstone fan, you haven't. So I don't blame you.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, so really just clarifying that out, really kind of carving it in stone, it sounds like, as much as you can carve something in stone when it's not an official announcement. And then once again, kind of echoing Ben's comments from the AMA, saying that you should not earn less gold or non-gold rewards in the new system was a big thing that Iksar was drilling home here.
So stuff we're getting will not change in the negative, in that, like anything that we are actually getting now, we'll get that or more in this new proposed system. Now, I mean, this is kind of like, I understand where people can be hesitant or potentially frustrated around this idea, because you've got like, it's the same idea as like the Heroes of the Storm store, where you have to spend real money to buy a currency to then do another thing. And the more steps that you put between the real money, or in this case, not the money, but like the effort you're putting in, the more steps you put between that and the thing you actually want, which is the cards, then, the more convoluted the system becomes, the harder it becomes for the consumer to actually know what they're getting for their time or money. And so I understand how that system can be a little bit harder to follow and might make you feel like maybe you're not getting as much as you were. So it means that you have to have a lot of trust in the company and the system that's there to say like, okay, what I'm putting in, I'm getting the same or more back again. And the more steps that they put in between there, the more convoluted it becomes and the harder it is for a consumer to actually assess that. So I understand the concern around this potential new system. I think, again, it just is going to come down to whether you trust Blizzard or not, and, how you decide to go forward from there. But I think in general, the Battle Pass sounds like it's going to be okay. And I think, this new system with the gold and non-gold rewards, I think is fine. Again, as long as in the end, we're getting more than we were now, because, no one wants a new system to come in and get less.
Right. Exactly. And that's where this is, that's where this is interesting, because like this is where I want to get into like really nitty gritty about like word usage in Iksar's reply, because in like the first paragraph of his reply, it goes, quote, "In nearly all circumstances, you should be earning slightly more gold and more non-golds," which he puts in parentheses, packs, etc. In nearly all circumstances is going to raise eyebrows. Like what circumstances is that not the case? From, kind of reading his entire reply as a whole, and also looking at Ben's response and also the survey, just everything, it seems like that all in nearly all circumstances might be like diehard players, like that play a ton of Hearthstone, people like streamers or pro players, which obviously wouldn't affect the vast majority of Hearthstone players, but that's where my brain goes. And if you're going to put a lot of effort and make a big deal into kind of overhauling your progression system, I think like the simplest like thought around this I have is that like it just has to give more across the board, no matter how like what tiny upper percentage of playing far more Hearthstone than the average user is. I don't think it matters. I think if in this day and age, the way press and community reaction revolves around the games industry, like if there's any hole to poke in this system of, oh, well, my favorite streamer is now getting, 10 to 20 less packs on average based on gold because they used to cap out their gold max every day or whatever. Like that's going to become a big talking point of the community.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think my biggest potential problem here wasn't even really addressed. Like Iksar did go in to say that like he wants this new system to be good for everybody and that your XP per level and XP bonuses and stuff are all going to be things that they're going to be able to tune and tweak in case they screw it up, which is all fine. But they didn't really talk about the idea of, like levels, like my big concern of levels costing you more XP every time. Because that's my big problem is that I hate the idea of, if I play every day, if Hearthstone's my only game, and if I make it all the way to the end of if I'm working my way through the battle pass, that I get a bajillion rewards in week 1. And by the time I make it to the end, I might be getting 1 reward a week. Like I want it to be rewarding the whole way along. Cause I feel like, me and you, Garrett, and streamers and a lot of people listening to the sound of my voice, like, you guys are the guys that are seeking out Hearthstone content on top of Hearthstone. Like you are very much the hardcore Hearthstone crowd, whether you consider yourself a casual or hardcore player. It doesn't really matter. You're putting a lot into the game of Hearthstone. You're putting a lot of your time in, and you want those players to be rewarded, but at the same time, like you don't want things to feel out of reach for an actual like more casual player. So I know that it's a hard balancing act, but I really, really believe that we as hardcore players, those of us that are putting in quite a lot of time every week, should be consistently rewarded throughout the course of a battle pass. And they didn't really talk about that here. And that's the part that really worries me. I trust them enough to give me enough rewards that I'm not losing out on anything versus how I earn things in game today. But I want to make sure that I'm, like by the end of the battle pass, that I still want to play just as much, like that I'm still going to be getting a whole bunch of rewards over the course of my playtime during a week. And they didn't really talk about that. And that's my biggest, like, hang on, guys, maybe you want to look at that point.
Yeah. I sure. My stance on that is that I agree with you entirely, which is my stance the last time we talked about this. So it's completely unchanged.
I was really surprised that they didn't really talk about that at all. They really Iksar really just said, like rewards, but didn't really talk about the pacing of those rewards. I
mean, the Reddit post that he was replying to didn't really mention it either, and I haven't really seen any comments in the community. Like I think you're kind of like on the concern that no one's talking about, in my opinion.
And it's kind of funny because the way that we're currently rewarded in the quest system is that we get a kind of consistent pacing of rewards. You get a daily quest every day. You do that daily and you get the reward, and you know that the next day you'll have another quest and another quest. And it's like every day you play and you get something, whether it's a chunk of gold or, a pack or card back or whatever. But our rewards right now are consistent. If you put everything into a battle pass, you'll be rewarded experience every day for completing those daily quests. Sure. But that experience is going to get you less and less the more you play. And that feels bleh.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm really, I don't know. I've kind of like simplified my concern, which is at the end of the day, like, it is true. Hearthstone has gotten better in how it rewards us and how many rewards we get.
Yeah, we used to get nothing.
Yes, it's true that it's gotten better, but there now exists true competition for Hearthstone. For the first time in its existence, we have Magic the Gathering Arena and we have Legends of Runeterra. Both are very popular, both are very successful, and both are, in my opinion, what was Magic, somewhat debatable. I think it's better than Hearthstone. Legends of Runeterra, no debate, infinitely more accessible than Hearthstone. Like, it kind of puts Hearthstone to shame. Luckily for Blizzard, I much prefer the gameplay of Hearthstone. But there's some heavy hitters out there that are more accessible. And so, like, I kind of look at the Battle Pass being like, why are we even having this conversation where we're hemming and hawing about you should get more? Why not just design it where just across the board it's just better?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why isn't that the messaging?
Whole entire argument. Yeah. Just be like, no, it's just going to be better. We're just giving you more. Go.
Yeah. So that's just kind of my thought there. Like, this doesn't have to be insanely better, but just tune it to the point where it is just undeniably more stuff for everyone, because there's definitely room in Hearthstone.
The everyone is key too, right? Because the idea of the Battle Pass is going to be that there is a free and a paid track. So, are we just talking with all of these responses? Are we just talking about the free track? Because then that's a really good thing, because that means anyone who pays into the Battle Pass is going to get even more rewards. So, is he talking about all circumstances being for those of us in the free track? Or is he saying, if you give us money, you'll get the same stuff as normal? Like, because that's, I think, also a concern, is making sure that the free base track is better than where we currently are. And then you've got your free track and then your paid track on top. That's more.
Or like, at the bare minimum, the free track should be undeniably equal to now.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, that is everything that Iksar talked about, just referring to the free track of the Battle Pass, yay or nay, because that's, if they're saying that with the paid Battle Pass, you'll get the same rewards as now, that's bad. that's more worseness.
Oh man. The butchering of the English language on this episode is phenomenal.
Blame chat room.
I am aware. You're right. Hula Gaming, more betterness, less worseness. That's what we want to see.
Someone make that into a sign,
please. Yes, I would like to see some picket signs. And so, I don't know. Like, I would be really surprised if you did pay for the Battle Pass and you don't get just obviously more stuff than we get now. On top of the fact that there were details for things like hero portraits you can level up, which are just things that don't exist at the moment. So you, of course, going to feel like we're getting more. So, like, I'm sure for me, as someone who is like totally going to pay for this, it's probably going to be a good experience. But I could just see us sitting here whenever this comes out, I don't know, probably late 2020 or early 2021, going, everyone's really mad because the track of the Battle Pass that you do not pay for is a lot harder to get the same rewards than we were getting prior. And I don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah.
That's a boring technical conversation to have. And we've done this a while. It feels like we're kind of on the track to that extremely technical segment of the podcast. So we're out there, Charlie Day with the yarn going, if you look over here, we used to get X amount and you can get that amount, but it takes 3 extra weeks because the XP ramps up. And then I don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that. Let's not do that. Please and thank you. So, anyways, but other than that, like, if this really does, if what Iksar says, which is in nearly all circumstances, you should be earning slightly more gold and non-gold, then awesome. Great. Let's just make sure we aim for and hit that target. And I think we're going to be all right. But there's like so much gray area where I'm really, and it kind of piggybacks off your concern about the ramping XP, is that I hope there's not so much like gamified gray area of how you even get to those rewards and the speed at which you hit them, that we're not all sitting here having a mad scientist an explanation for, is it the same? Is it equal? Is it more? Who knows? I guess we will see, Joss, eventually. When we actually get a proper announcement.
When we get exactly. When we get a proper announcement, because that's also the thing, right? Is that we're getting all this information about a not finalized, not announced product. Yeah. Which is kind of crazy in and of itself.
Yeah. But again, good. I think it's good. I think it's rad that they're having this conversation with us.
Yes.
So those are my thoughts. Just make it undeniably a win. That should be the target. Just taking a quick minute to thank today's sponsor, Quip Electric Toothbrushes. You can go to getquip.com/tack right now, and you're going to get your first refill pack for free with a Quip Electric Toothbrush. When's the last time you got rewarded for brushing your teeth? With Quip's new Smart Electric Toothbrush, good habits can earn you great perks like free products, gift cards, and more. You've probably heard us talk about Quip a million times on Tack, but this is something brand new that rewards you and your mouth. The Quip Smart Brush connects to the Quip app with Bluetooth. Track when and how well you brush, get tips and coaching to improve your habits, earn points for daily brushing and bonus points for completing challenges, things like streaks, and you can redeem rewards for things like free products, gift cards, and discounts from Quip and partners. If you already have Quip, no big deal. Just upgrade it with a smart motor and keep the features you know and love. Features like sensitive sonic vibrations, 2-minute timer with 30-second pulses for a guided clean. There's slim, lightweight, and sleek design with no wires or bulky chargers to weigh you down, and a multi-use travel cover that doubles as a mirror mount for less clutter. You can start getting rewards for brushing your teeth today. Go to getquip.com/TAC right now and get your first refill pack free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/TAC. It's spelled GETQUIP.com/TAC. Quip. Better oral health made simple and rewarding. We thank them for their support.